We'll call this meeting to order. And we'll start with the pledge of allegiance, please. If everybody will join. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to welcome everybody to this meeting. This is a new deal for the Code Council. We have never had a seating like this, as everybody knows, and we're just kind of down at floor level. It's going to be unique, and I want to make sure if somebody raises their hand so that we can get everybody recognized. And we're going to be doing some changes over the next period of time and stuff, and we hope it all goes smoothly. And we ask for everybody's input and patience as we move forward. And hopefully everything that we do will work out for the betterment of the citizens of the state of Louisiana. And we appreciate the public input and stuff. With y'all being here as public and stuff, that's what makes this council work. So thank you very much. And we're going to move on to full business, the review and the adoption of the minutes from our March 11th meeting. Oh, who's going to do roll call? There you are.
Good morning, everyone. We'll do a roll call. Mr. Keenan Glover.
Here.
Mr. Bobby Bird. Mr. Tressa Bird.
Here.
Mr. Chuck Visser.
Here.
Mr. Marty Campbell.
Here.
Mr. Jake Causey. Mr. Carlos Garon.
Here.
Miss Jackie Hidakis.
Here.
Mr. Matt Wood. Mr. Trent Clark.
Here.
Miss Carrie. I'm just going to say Miss Carrie.
Here.
Mr. Scott Masterson.
Here.
Mr. Dennis Miller. Mr. Eric Cornell.
Here.
Miss Jamie Beard. Mr. Billy McShannon.
Here.
Mr. Gerard Mancuso.
Here.
Mr. Rodney Wallace.
Present.
Mr. Roy Young.
Here.
You have 14 present. Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, we'll move on to the review and adoption of minutes from March 11th meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review? Chair will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Motion to accept.
Second.
We have a motion to accept the minutes in a second. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, thank you. Next LSU CCC meeting. Look at my calendar. Would be July the 8th. Are there any major conflicts for that day?
I will be out of town, but I don't know if I have to be here, so.
Okay, well, we'll just talk about the state holidays and all that kind of stuff. But we'll schedule the next meeting for July the 8th, and that will be pending. Although, anybody else have any view where they can't be here? All right, be scheduled for July the 8th. Technical committee codes and study and advisory committee report, Ms. Dackins?
Absolutely. So we are really excited to announce that we've got a series of the ICC, IECC training scheduled in July. This will be up on the website soon, tomorrow morning, with a registration link that is going through ICC for these classes. The dates are scheduled: a residential class for Jefferson Parish and surrounding areas on July 9th, Baton Rouge and surrounding areas July 10th. There are commercial classes scheduled in Alexandria and surrounding areas July 16th. In North Louisiana, Bossier City area, July 17th. And so get on that registration and please get in there. We're very excited to finally have these classes rolling out. In addition, if you are a subscriber to the ICC online codes, you will now be able to see a Louisiana amended edition. I haven't gotten on to see it exactly yet, but I hear it looks really, really cool. So get a chance to go on there and look. Thank you so much to our partners at ICC who have been part of this overall Resilient and Efficient Codes Initiative grant we've been working on for the last 18 months, both to develop these Louisiana-specific trainings and to actually have the online amendments to the code. But hopefully you'll all get a chance to work with it, and if you have any feedback for us, please don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. In addition, at AIA, they've actually been running a series of kind of more targeted to the architects trainings. So make sure you're following along on that email list if you're looking for design specific help on the new IECC code. We are actually coming up to the end of the first cycle of this grant. So by September, we should know more if we're moving into the second cycle, which has more of a direct workforce development component to it. And hopefully we'll know soon about whether or not that is happening. Yeah.
For the Louisiana Code online edition, there's actually a read-only version that you can view on the public side. You don't actually have to be sign in for it, but that only allows you to be able to view it. You can control find if you're looking for something specific within that code. In red will be the 2021 amendments, and blue will be the 2015 amendments, and everything else in black will be just the standard code as it was. Also, I was trying to think if there was anything else. If you can't copy paste it or print the page on the read only side, but you can view it, and you can control F to find if you're looking for something particular. If you are a member, then you can sign in, and you'll have the premium membership. You can sign in and do everything that you would do other than that.
And that is my technical committee report.
Okay. Legislative advisor?
Still me.
Yes.
Maybe in the next year we'll deal with this. I won't have two hats. I'm just going to run through. There's a number of bills that pertain to the LSU CCC this term. One of the biggest ones is that we're all here today, and it appears we're making a transition here over to the Contractors Board. So thank you for providing a home for us going forward. Also, thank you to the Fire Marshal's Office for being our home for so many years now. That has passed both the House and the Senate, and I think is just awaiting governor's signature. So full steam ahead on this. A couple of others, I'm not going to go through all of them because at this point they're sort of moving or they're not. There was a bill by former Code Council member, Representative Gadberry, relative to roofing and re-roofing permits that has moved out of the House and onto the Senate at this point. It's passed, so that's on to the governor's office. And then there's a couple more that I believe are still in the amendment process, but none that really, I think, drastically change the work we're doing here. So that's my legislative update. If anyone has any questions, feel free to come forward and ask us. I'm gonna have to bring my glasses next time. Everyone is much further away than they used to be. All right.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jackie. And that's the determination of old business and new business. We have some new members on the council. Ms. Juliet, if you would stand, please.
Me? That's Carrie.
Miss Carrie.
I thought we had a Juliet.
We do, but she's not gonna be here this time.
Oh,
She's gonna be here.
I thought she got confirmed.
Yeah, well, they're still waiting on
Okay.
Oh, sorry. My name is Carrie Dewhurst. I'm a fire field team manager for State Farm. I am replacing a former board member who works for my company, and I look forward to working with you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. And Mr. Clark?
Hey everyone, Trent Clark here, COO at Mallet Building. Have been contracting and doing construction in Louisiana or Lake Charles for quite a while. Look forward to working with y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. We have some members that have reached what used to be their 8-year term, and we have a presentation of some trophies or plaques.
Mr. Mullins want to do that?
Tramon's gonna do it. Okay, Mr. Moan. And I want to thank Bo for taking care of these trophies and stuff for our members that have worked so very hard and stuff for this council and stuff. It's I just want to thank y'all so much for taking care of that for us. We appreciate it.
No problem. We appreciate you letting us handle this. The first award will go to Jackie Didakis. 8 years of service, Technical Code and Advisory Committee Chairperson, Legislative Advisory Committee Chairperson.
Let's do it again.
Next, we have Marty Campbell in recognition for 8 years of service, dedication, and outstanding public service. And there were three, but
Jake will be here next week.
he'll be here next week to accept it.
Thank you. I want to thank you two for so much helping out this code council. I know I have put both of y'all in situations that were uncomfortable, and I thank you for your support of the chair.
Thank you. I have enjoyed it.
And if y'all could wait after the meeting, I'd like to get a picture with y'all with the chair and James and also Mr. Mo after the meeting.
Item 3, we're going to move to the last. We'll move Mr. Brad to the end. He'd like to be moved, so do not have a problem with that. And Mr. James, we have a discussion on the registrations. So would you like to start off with it?
Yes, sir. I think that we definitely need to make a strong push to ensure everyone is registered for their specific trade with the Code Council. There's been I don't want to say a lot, but there's been a few people and a few situations throughout the state. I'm just trying to be positive on this, where there's been some discernment and been some discrepancies. We just need to get the word out to make sure that everybody that is, inspecting, that they need to be registered, and they need to make sure that if they have any problems, have any questions or concerns, we're here to help. We're here to guide you. But ultimately, we've got to get the compliance on the registrations in order statewide, and that's going to allow us to be more consistent, and that's going to eliminate some of the problems that we've been experiencing here recently.
Thank you, Mr. James. As far as chair and stuff with the registrations, we did take action about 1.5 years ago on a gentleman that let his lapse and stuff, and it's pretty stern with the deal that came up with, but it needs to be done statewide to make sure that all our agencies, third party, etc., are in compliance for the safety of the citizens of the state of Louisiana. Okay, code remedy application stuff would like to be extended to July the 15th. So if there's anyone that would like to further submit an application from the public, please do so. You have to July the 15th if we get this approved. We're not going to order the books till sometime in August, so we have plenty of time to do that. And the chair would entertain a motion to extend that time frame to July the 5th.
May I make a comment as we do this?
Yes.
Thank you for extending the time frame. I got a chance to look at our applications. I want to say gold star to AIA and Bowl for obviously getting the word out. Some of our other groups, we could really use quite a few more contractors to submit applications onto our review committees. There are 6, 7 now altogether. So I'm glad to have the opportunity to extend this time period for people to apply. I also want to mention a couple of current Code Council members applied, and I really love that because I think we're expecting some people might roll off, some people might stick around. You all have so much experience having been through this once before, so please consider submitting during this public process because that will give us an opportunity to keep you on these committees if you aren't a Code Council member later this year or early next year. So just some thoughts about that, but please do let everyone in your networks know that this application is open to the public through July 15th, and hopefully we can get all of the different industries represented onto our review committees.
Thank you, Ms. Jackie. Chair will entertain a motion to extend it to July 15th. Motion. Do I have a second? Thank you. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, thank you. Okay. You have any comments, Mr. Davis?
I'd just like to ask is for suggestions. And when you're looking at, when we were looking at those applications, definitely it's skewed to a select few of representation, but it's also geographically, Jackie and I were talking about it. I think that if something so important needs to definitely take in the input from people or the representation from people, this is not just a Baton Rouge code review. It's not just a Lake Charles code review. It's a statewide code review. So I'm just open for suggestions on how that we may be able to get the word out that this application period has been extended so that we could get representation on these committees or at least applications in from people throughout the state rather than in specific pockets of the state. So if anybody in the audience or anybody on the council has any recommendations or suggestions on how that we could publicize this a little bit more, thinking outside the box, I think that is something that if we're going to extend it, I think there's something else that needs to be done in order to promote it.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And they are virtual meetings, so you won't have to drive 4 hours in for the review committees.
Yes, Sir Scott?
I had paid attention on the advertisement. Is that virtual meeting, is that in the advertisement? Because we might want to put that out there. If some people in a more rural area says, I'm not driving all the way to Baton Rouge to review it, let's put that on there that it is virtual. We have the president of the Building Officials Association of Louisiana here. Maybe that Bowl could advertise it on their social media page, blast it out to their membership. If someone has a contact with the North Louisiana Building Code Alliance would be another one that we could reach out to.
Yeah.
But I would, just like I said, strongly suggest we put that on the advertisement that it is virtual.
Perhaps we just title that our virtual review committees.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else have any comments? All right, we'll move on to the comments of the chair. My comments is going to be general public and stuff that there's going to be some changes moving forward with the Code Council. Some of it will be done by legislation. Some of it will be suggested that we do it within the council. And I ask the council to be open-minded about what's coming and move forward with it. Try to make this transition as smooth as possible. And ultimately, everything that's going to be done is going to be for the betterment of the citizens of the state of Louisiana, and that's our goal. So just keep our goals in mind, our original goals, that we're trying not to be a burden upon the public and stuff when the building process, cost-wise, et cetera, and stuff, but be very open-minded on what's going to come in the near future, and for a, I guess, extended period of time would be the way to say it. And is there anybody on the council would like to have anything to say? Is there anybody from the public would like to make a comment? Mr. Brad, we're down to the point that we'll give the mic to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I could, though, I did notice that you didn't have a dedicated position on your agenda for public comments, and there are numerous people here who have expressed that they might want to have a public comment in the past. Maybe you could ask them if there are any comments in general.
Yes, sir. Is there anybody?
None of y'all want to speak? Y'all wanted to speak when you're in my office. Don't speak.
Come forward and state your name, please, and who you represent.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Asa Trish. I'm here with my colleagues, Elliot Grand, Brian Smolty. We represent the largest remodeler association here in South of Louisiana. We're local remodelers and friendly competitors who've aligned here to come speak on behalf of our association regarding some of the effects of the permitting process on home remodelers. Only recently has our discussions with the local permitting offices and the state licensing board led us here to your committee. So we understand that this year's session at the Capitol coming to a close doesn't make our timing the most effective. However, we felt it important to come introduce ourselves, share some of our experiences with you guys, as currently well-intentioned policies are not aligning with the realities of some of the outcomes. We're concerned the legislators have no interaction with the current active home renovators and are not aware of some of the current market effects it has on us. We believe building code and permit requirements in the state have been tailored to commercial contractors, home builders, and labor unions. Home renovators have never provided meaningful input. We'd like to share our recommendations if time permits today, but our group consists of 3,800 members here in the surrounding greater Baton Rouge area. We've aligned with the Baton Rouge members as well, who's an additional 3,000 members. So only the three of us here showed up today, but we can say that our views are in a line, and we have uniform comments here from our investment community. So we have dozens of fellow remodelers eager to attend these future meetings, as regulations are stifling investment in the state, and there's a lot of frustration in the market. However, we can only speak on residential remodel work. We do not wish to change code and permits for new construction or commercial construction. Applying the new construction code book to the remodel work does not work. It makes investment financially unsustainable, especially at affordable price points where the investment is needed the most. Instead, tailoring home remodel permits strictly to elements that tangibly impact safety and functionality would significantly increase community investment in blighted properties in our community.
Our recommendations are as follows. In order to encourage community development, remodel permits should not be held to the same standard as new construction jobs. There's a problem with bad contractors and people pretending to be contractors, especially after a storm. In reality, regulations intended to correct this issue, while well-intentioned, are only harming those acting in good faith. Those acting in bad faith will continue to do so regardless of regulation. We recommend simplifying the process for remodel work and encourage parishes like Orleans Parish to be easier to work with. No parish shall require specialty permits for home renovation jobs under $75,000. That's one of the recommendations. Also recommend increasing the work for home renovators from $50,000, the work threshold, back to $75,000. General contractors often do not want to do these smaller jobs, are not timely, will charge a big premium. Investors are often paying contractors a license fee to file a permit for home renovator to do the work. Tailor remodel permits to focus on two things. One, safety, and two, functionality. Do not apply the entire new construction code book to remodel permits. Instead, create a recommended safety and functionality checklist for remodel permits that is common sense and has a chance to be followed in every parish. It is unrealistic to think small permit offices will ever be able to uniformly apply the full new construction code to remodel projects.
Basically, we just feel there's a disconnect in the market between what the intention of a lot of policy is versus what investors are facing. And there's again, we can't speak to new construction, but we can speak to remodels. The three of us, we renovate a lot of homes, and there's a ton behind us that we had a meeting with the city a couple weeks ago. We had 55 investors show up on a rainy Tuesday. We would add 100 if it was good. But I just want to tell you some of the things that are trickling down to us, and I know it's not the intention, but we just want to create awareness. We don't want to come in hot. We just want people to know that there may be some really good ideas, but the impact on us is crazy, especially when we're trying to renovate homes in Section 8 parts of town. The cost is so prohibitive at this point. We're seeing permit times. Here's some examples. A condenser. We have to get a condenser installed to get an occupancy permit. We have so much theft that a lot of times we'll install a condenser to get a permit, then pay to remove it, and then pay to install it again when somebody moves in. Like, it's crazy. It makes no sense. Let's see. Sorry, we jumped around a little bit. Water heater change-outs. Like, does anybody have any idea how many air conditioning change-outs and water heater change-outs are actually permitted? Has anybody looked at the data? No? I mean, because technically you're supposed to change out every air conditioner change-out in the city. EBR Parish had 45 last year. That's it. You know who's having to permit everything? The home renovators. If the power's been out for more than 6 months, we're having to do it. It is killing our ability to renovate homes. We're having to, when we pull a remodel permit, we're having to get 8 to 12 sub-permits, and right now they're failing at a rate of 40% per level. So imagine trying to get through that permit stage to try to get a remodel permit. You just can't do it. It's costing us between about $3,000 and $10,000 in not the permit fees, but all the hidden costs of the cost to get money right now is expensive on an investment project. And so having to hold a project for 1 to 3 months longer, it kills your investment. And about a lot of projects, a third to half of our profit is getting eaten up and hold cost and having to send subs back to do these small little things. We're a lot of times having to pay specialty licenses, $300 to $500 to sit behind a computer and file a permit that a handyman's going to do, that they're not even seeing the property.
I want to make sure you keep getting to give your public comment. Thank you for coming, actually.
Thank you.
It's been very rare, actually, that folks have come to our meetings to provide this type of feedback to us. I kind of wanted to give you a sense of what we currently can influence versus what we can't, and actually where you can participate. So we were talking that we've just extended this time period for the code review cycle, which are actually the groups that are going to decide on the building code for 2024. And those are public committees. So all three of you, I'm expecting to see apply to be on those committees. There's an existing building code book that we'll review as part of that, which is probably where a lot of the things you want us to address exist for your area of expertise. We don't, unfortunately, well, I won't say unfortunately because it's very specific. We don't have jurisdiction over what's called Chapter 1, the administrative chapter. So your frustrations you might have with your permitting offices and the local permitting office, that's in Chapter 1. So Orleans adopts their version of Chapter 1, Baton Rouge adopts their version of Chapter 1. I think we all have a lot of thoughts and opinions about how that rolls out statewide and would love to sort of help you all navigate that process. But when we get to the other side of our 2024 code review cycle, each of those jurisdictions are going to come through and adopt a version of Chapter 1 that I think a lot of your comments about that threshold of where things kick in fall in that. And it probably is something we can think about in our code review cycle, providing some guidance outwards about that. Did I miss anything from the folks who more regularly engage with their local permitting offices?
Eric Parnell, I feel your pain. As an architect and a developer, I do have some of those same exact issues. As Ms. Jackie said, though, unfortunately, in some of these cases, it's it's out of our hands. Do look, and I was going to speak up, do look and use, and some of this is just knowledge that the international existing building code is your best friend. Absolutely your best friend. Because a lot of local jurisdictions that maybe aren't as aware of it will focus only on the IRC, the new residential construction, and it changes what y'all have to do. And sometimes those changes are very significant. You know, it kind of surprises me that there were 45 permits issued for water
It's
heaters,
0.2%
water
being
heater
permitted.
change outs or air conditioning change outs. I'm kind of surprised it was that high, actually.
Yeah. Nobody knows the
'cause
numbers.
it's
Like
not
even the
just not
permit officers
done.
don't realize when they dig in.
But as she said, get on the committees. I mean,
We don't have the time. We can't. And when we're here and like we're relying on like we're going to make
the
our
thing
case
is-
and we're going to back out. And our approach is we're just not going to invest. And right now we have investors who are passing on blighted properties in two of the biggest parishes where everybody knows there's a problem.
I'm going to
and we're
push
just
back on you
not
right
investing.
there. I'm a real estate developer in Orleans Parish, and I take a day out of every month to come up here and participate because time is an investment as much as your capital is. And we run a really important public process in the state. And you don't have to say, you can even just attend as a public person when you see what's going to be on the agenda items within the existing
Yeah.
building code meeting, within the IRC meetings. But actually, it's very important that you don't just come one time, that you stay involved in this process, because if no one comes and says, this is the exact section of the code we need to change, we're not going to know that.
So I can absolutely guarantee you that any plumbers in here will say the exact same thing you are. Any mechanical contractors are going to say the exact same thing you are, but they will make the time. And if you've been to many of these meetings, they come in screaming.
Well, what we don't understand is we've talked to the permit offices, we talked to the mayor's office. We're friendly with everybody, and nobody's ever disagreed with a word we said. And I feel like we're coming here and nobody disagrees. So, like, where's
I do.
please? That's what we've wondered. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like, we've had people who have installed new windows in the house, and we've had to do this. We've had to uninstall them and then reinstall them with the city there to watch us how we flash them in a neighborhood where literally, I don't know, a high percent of the windows are boarded up. We've had to remove windows because they weren't energy efficient enough when the whole neighborhood is just like in disrepair. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on and on. Moving a washer box 1 inch. Like, you can't, let's hear it. I would love to hear it.
The codes change every 3 years. So literally every 3 years, somebody else could come in and say something that this guy didn't have to do it. Well, the house was built 3 years ago. Codes change. We all, those of us that are also inspectors, have to relearn it. A lot of what I heard you complaining about is, for all intents and purposes, local permit offices. We cannot go in there and tell a local permit office, this is how you have to permit renovations. This is like these guys are on a time crunch, so you have to get your plans turned in quicker out to them. That's all in how someone runs their office. Well, I have no doubt that y'all three that are here probably very good at what you do. I would assume you are, and you care enough to be here. Understand from the local permit office, there's also a bunch of guys that don't. We get bombarded with out-of-state people that come in, especially after a storm. I heard you mention it comes in on a storm. I'm at the city of Zachary. In the city of Zachary, we require you to not only be licensed with the state of Louisiana, but you have to be licensed with the city as well. It's free to do that. I just need a copy of your state license, your insurance, and and a bond, and you can get licensed with us. When it comes to an emergency, my office gets bombarded by gentlemen such as yourself that do not y'all personally, but in your field, that says, this is ridiculous, this is red tape, I'm in here trying to help, I shouldn't have to provide all this stuff. But the reason we're doing it is to protect our citizens from getting people from Mississippi that come in that are what happens at this group in here that literally looks at all the time of contractor fraud that says, oh yeah, I'm licensed. Nobody goes and looks at it and finds out that their license expired 5 years ago. That actually happened in Zachary in the flood of 16. I'm sorry that your plans aren't getting turned out as fast as you like or whatever, permit fees, all those have to be charged. But you say, well, some places require a condenser to be installed. They're getting stolen. Yeah, I get it. The same thing happened back before PEX piping was running, and we were hearing the same thing when everyone was still running copper under the thing that says, hey, look, I can't wait I got to get concrete in because if I leave it overnight, someone's going to steal my copper. There's always an excuse for somebody that's going to have that it's costing me this, it's costing me that. Like, I'm sorry. Let's say again, codes change, and
well, let me ask you something. Do you know how many air conditioning change-out permits were pulled in Zachary last year?
probably a handful.
So,
I
really
don't go
think-
around driving all over town trying to say, hey, I see a truck over there and they're changing a unit out.
But my point is, so you probably have about 1%. It's probably about what it is.
I'd be surprised if it's that.
Do you honestly think that enforcing regulations on the 1% of the people who are doing things the right way is going to do anything to solve the bad actors who are doing it the wrong way? Because it's not. Everybody knows it's not. Like that.
But I don't understand what
you're jumping power.
You're saying
great.
that on one hand you're saying that it's costing me money and it's costing me
I don't care about
time
that.
and it's costing all this other stuff, and then you're saying but only 1%'s only doing it.
We don't care about the money on permits. Like, please, like we encourage it. We'll pay triple for permit costs.
Well, you did, but this gentleman here said there was 12 different permits that they had to
I said
pull.
that.
Oh, that was you. I'm
There's
sorry.
subs, but it's-
That there's 12 different permits, and it costs us whatever the money you said.
Yeah, because the cost to us is the time to go through the 8 to 12 layers of sub permits, having subcontractors go back out to do these tiny little things that aren't safety related to get through this new building code that's being applied to a building that's 60 years old.
You mentioned earlier about putting in windows and not getting it inspected, and then having to pull them out because the inspector didn't see the flashing.
Yeah.
All right. So let me tell you what happens from my point of view. Contractor comes in, they put a window in. I didn't check for the flashing. A few years go down the road, it leaks. Homeowner calls, why's my windows leaking? Because it doesn't have flashing. Why didn't you check for that? I permitted it, I inspected it, I had it inspected, but you didn't look for it. You're liable. Like that happens in
How
our
many times have you been
offices all
sued?
the time.
How many times have you been sued in the last 5 years?
I personally have never been
How many
sued.
times has the
Doesn't do my
permit
job.
office been sued?
Huh?
How many times has your permit office been sued last year?
None.
Yeah.
Because
There's no-
I make sure that the flashing in the windows was in.
Every contractor has insurance.
I'm not going and signing off on stuff that I didn't see. I didn't tell the guy, yeah, go ahead and sheetrock it. I don't have time to get the ceiling joists in, but you're on a time crunch, so go ahead and do it. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. I don't mean to argue with you. I'm just.
I get it, but I'm just saying, I understand everything you're coming from. I get that contractors are on a crunch. I understand that y'all are at the mercy of the weather. I understand every bit of these things. But I'm telling you from the building side point of view, while there's people out there that are going to do what they're supposed to do, there's also, unfortunately, contractors that are going to say, I'm not putting in the flash and hurry up and do it. All right, we got a whole thing on roofing right now because we have issues with roofing contractors coming in and not doing what they are supposed to do.
I love that. Do you guys know how many roofing permits you'd have to pull in Baton Rouge next year to permit every roof? Has anybody looked at the numbers on that? And is it even possible for the staff to permit every roof? And do you know, even when you permit a roof, to actually inspect a roof right, you have to be there several times throughout the day to make sure that everything's done properly. Because the nail gun speed, if the nail goes too deep, you're going to have a leak several months after you install it. The roof boots, if they're not sealed correctly. Do you know that a lot of parishes don't even have ladders? I don't even think they have the insurance to get on a roof. So passing this rule for roof is just another example of like, that's going to filter down to all the people who are doing things right. And it's not going to impact at all the people who are doing it wrong. Because when you have a storm, you're going to have people coming in herds from all over the country. They're going to do terrible work, and you're going to have the sad stories that are going to create more regulation that are going to come down on all the good people. And frankly, like, whether you do something about it or not, like, we're kind of at the end of it. We're just trying to create awareness of the reality We're in it every day. We've got 3,800 members, and a lot of them would come in really hot, and it's uniform. But we've gotten feedback from people in New Orleans about has anybody talked to anybody in New Orleans where they've already had a requirement for roof permits? Has anybody talked to them before this was recommended to see
Well,
that?
the roofing permits is coming through from your legislatures. So
I know.
if you want to stop that, you need to get with your legislators.
Jefferson
Right.
Parish, St. Bernard Parish has been doing this for 3 years now.
I know.
Orleans Parish has just rolled it out in the last month.
Do you know how they do it? Do y'all know how they inspect the roofs?
It's you are able to turn in photos.
It's photos.
Yes.
Geotag photos.
Geotag photos. Yeah.
So right now, with all the roof stuff that's going on, it's brand. I mean, a lot of this is brand new. We are in a changeover with a lot of this stuff. Everybody's trying to do it correctly. You know, I mean, ultimately, everybody would like to make it as easy as possible within their system. It's not always that's easier
Idealistically,
said
it's
than
great.
done.
Yeah.
Have
Right.
you all worked within the fortified roofing system?
So the fortified roof, like I would love to know more about that because every insurance agent, we've got a bunch of rental properties, and every insurance broker we talked to has said it sounds great, but when you get a fortified roof, your bundling discount that you get for bundling your other insurance goes away in exchange for the fortified roof discount. So you're really not getting that much of a savings. But people will talk about this great fortified roof savings. That's what we're hearing on the ground. I would love to know anybody that knows anything different.
I see a couple other people. If you want to start moving your way towards come up to the microphone. Just to give you all some context, we've actually spent the last 3 years at this committee. There was legislation last year that would have required every roof in Louisiana to meet the fortified standard, which we thought was going to be a burden on remodeling contractors like you. So the re-roofing permits and some of the code changes you've seen was our compromise to keep the legislature from preempting us and requiring fortified as your standard. And I say this as someone who very much supports that citizens should be allowed to choose a fortified roof if they want to, but it should be their choice and not a mandate from us at the council. Stay close, but I think we have another comment.
My name is Patrick Odom. I'm the director of Fortified Homes Program for the Department of Insurance. Y'all are welcome to come and talk to me anytime. I'm sitting back there. Basically, the reason why we have all these roof changes in place is exactly opposite of what you're talking about. We have roofers coming from Alabama over putting these roofs on, and they're not following IBHS standards. Flashing's not getting replaced, drip edges not getting replaced, chimneys. We have leaks everywhere. As far as I know, we have at least 15 to 20 litigation cases going on right now here in the state because it's not being done correctly. So we're pushing really hard to not only getting the roofing license passed through here with these guys, but also permits in all the divisions. We need third-party eyes. We can't trust you guys anymore.
Do you really think that requiring these permitting is going to prevent the bad people from doing
Absolutely.
Because the feedback we're getting from investors is the photos, you can have photos and still 98% of the roof can be bad and nobody knows. And the same subcontractors doing the work before are still doing the work. And like, it sounds great to have a general contractor do a roof, but let's be honest, has anybody seen a roofer that can talk to a roofer that 90-something% don't speak English? Like they're going to sub it out to people that aren't licensed and they're going to sweep the fee. And that's how the industry works. And like pretending that that's not how it works is just not being honest. Like it's not going to have an impact. And maybe, altruistically great, but like doing like a fortified roof lottery system to help certain people, I just don't get it. I don't get it. And then insurance companies insure based on the homeowner, the individual house. It's not like you scatter in some fortified roofs and Louisiana insurance is going to be saved. Like it just doesn't work like that.
We're moving beyond this.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Afterwards.
Anyway, we want to invest more. What's happening is people are not investing in the parishes that are difficult.
Oh, yeah.
And we want you to know it. And if there's a blight problem, we just want to create awareness. And whether it's changed or not, we don't have time to become legislators. I'm sorry for being so aggressive.
And I do want to, and I hear you about time commitments. Again, virtual meetings. You can take them from your truck. You don't necessarily have to be on the committees, but from what you've said, the ways we can help you and your 3,800 members can be engaged is to participate in these review committees that are about to start for 2024, particularly around the existing building code and making sure we get changes in there that support you and support economic development. Bobby's not here, but he would make me remind everyone that we have three things we are supposed to do as a code council. We are supposed to be technically accurate. We are supposed to ensure the life safety of the citizens of the state of Louisiana, and we are not supposed to negatively impact economic development. And so we have to weigh all three of those as we go through this process. My other piece of recommendation is, because a lot of your complaints are around Chapter 1 and the administrative chapter, which is adopted at the local level, and it seems very specific to a couple of jurisdictions, continue to engage. There's probably a lot of people in this room that can help you figure out how at the local level to make sure Chapter 1 is being adopted in a way that's not overly onerous on you. I don't know that any of us can magically fix some of our permitting offices that we all know are causing heartburn right now in the state, but I think we share the goal of this not being something that slows you down, and want to make sure we find those moderate positions to make sure homeowners are safe, contractors are making money. So thank you.
And regardless of what your colleagues, your less than honest colleagues are doing, going through the permit process will give you another level of protection. Going through the permit process and the inspections will give you a big level of protection against future lawsuits, because at least you can show, hey, I did something correct. I did it correctly. So not going through the permit process, whether you're changing out windows, and I can almost guarantee you that any retrofitted window in a brick house is installed incorrectly. You want to know how? Because I'm an expert witness in a lot of lawsuits involving those. So they're installed incorrectly. They're not installed per code. They're also not permitted. Roofs are the same way. I can have a roofer here at my house on a Friday afternoon and be done with that roof on Sunday afternoon, if not quicker than that.
Faster.
Scott's not going to be driving around on a Saturday afternoon worrying about who's got a roof going on, and most others aren't either. So involvement.
Yeah.
You've got 3,800 members. How many people are here today?
There's a lot.
That's a lot of people. Get involved. Make the difference. If you don't have time to be here, then you're going to spend your money somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I think everybody on here would expect y'all to see a number of y'all putting in applications on all the code change committees that are coming up.
If I can add one more thing that wasn't mentioned that's important. So you heard earlier July, our state got a grant, and it's about education too. So take the 3,800 members, leverage them, get with the cities, the parishes, have them attend those classes so that when you go out and you're getting something inspected, you're getting plans reviewed, you're all looking at the same codes. That's very important. And again, participate.
It's hard because, like the home builders, there's a few real dominant players, but for the remodelers, it's a bunch of one-off people doing 1 to 5 homes a year, and it's just hard to scale. Three of the larger ones went out of business recently, and it's difficult. And a lot of them have jobs, and so they're doing it part-time. So
I understand.
It's hard to wrangle everybody together.
Believe it or not, we talk about you sort of as apocryphal beings all the time during our code review process. How is this going to affect the 5 to 10 home builders, remodelers a year? And so I do want to make sure we find a way for you all to participate that works within your schedules and isn't a burden to you. But honestly, thank you for coming. This is one of the better public comment exchanges we've had in a couple of years that wasn't just someone coming to yell at me about Freeport. So
I'm sorry to everybody I offended. We do respect the process and safety and everything. So.
The chair would like to thank y'all for your comments. We listen to everything that comes before us, but I will say that if you want changes, you need to be involved. Because if you're not involved, then the changes will not be made. That's just the way it works. And as far as the permitting, et cetera, and that problems, there's always going to be a gap between the cities, municipalities, and independents and stuff. And the council does not deal with the permitting. I mean, we make sure the permits get pulled. If they don't, we take action. But as far as the pricing, the time frame and all that, we have no control over. So that's just the way it is. But thank you for coming. Thank you for your comments, and do get involved. And I need to tell the council a little something and stuff. We're under a new guise here. Whenever you're going to make a comment and stuff, we need to be recognized or state your name and stuff, because someone's got to take minutes off of this.
Ooh, sorry.
Yeah, so we have a learning process here. It can't be like the old days. We got to move
I'll write down
forward.
the names of the ones that speak the most. Have their photos.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Brad.
Can we get AI to just recognize our
Oh,
voices?
excuse me.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to make the public comment. My name is Carol Friedland. I'm the director of the La House Research and Education Center at the LSU Ag Center. And I just wanted to share something really exciting that we're working on. After we worked with GOSEP last year on finishing up the state hazard mitigation plan, we found that the state of Louisiana faces about $5 billion in annual loss from natural hazards. The majority of this is from flood at $3.6 billion per year, and second, wind at $1.2 billion per year. So as a result of this, we led an application process which included a lot of stakeholder engagement and feedback listening sessions to create a proposal that we've submitted to the National Science Foundation for $160 million to create the Disaster Reduction Initiative. You can find out more about this at lsuagcenter.com/DRI. We've got all of our needs assessment, SWOT analysis, and everything there. We submitted that proposal in April, focusing on 4 key technology areas, some of which were just mentioned, but risk reduction decision support technology, insurance affordability decision support technology, construction compliance technology, and educational technology. So these were really the 4 areas that emerged that people felt they really needed help to understand how, for example, building codes can save lives and reduce losses. And so we submitted this proposal in April. We're currently in the review process. So hopefully I'm not premature in letting you know about this, but a number of us, this is what we work on. And so in some form or another, we do anticipate moving forward with this. And so I just wanted to let you know that this is happening in the state. For this application process, it's focused on South Louisiana, which is the 35 southern parishes. Obviously, you know, the benefits can bleed over into the other parishes of Louisiana. So thank you.
That's great
Thank
news.
you, Ms. Carroll. Are there any other comments from the public? All right, Mr. Brad. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. Before we get started, I just want to introduce some of our key staff members here that will be assisting in our transition and I guess moving forward with whatever direction and progression y'all are going to make. First, I'd like to introduce Mr. Lee Mallett, who's here with us today. He's the chairman of the Licensing Board for Contractors. They've all scattered on me, so I'm just going to run through the room real quick. Joe Anderson is the Director of Investigations. Tara Rivette is our Director of Licensing. Jana Leger is the Director or the Deputy Director of All Administrative Services. Moving to the back, Monica Webster works in the licensing department, as does Miss Megan Hurst. Nikki Lopez in the back is our HR Director and is in charge of examinations and testing. Ms. Carrie Morgan in the back in the blue, who's hiding very well, is works in the enforcement section as well. Ms. Leanne Evans in the enforcement section as well. And right here, who's sitting next to me is Sean Beavers, who's the Deputy Director of the enforcement section. And I am Brad Hassler. I'm the Executive Director of the board and apparently your new Executive Director as of August 1. I asked to be moved to the back because I anticipate that there's a lot of things that you want to ask me. I'm here. What you want to ask?
Council members, any questions of Mr. Brad?
Okay, there's no questions, so let me tell you what I think. I think that this is a very overlooked and underutilized organization that may or may not be, in my opinion, in strong need of some guidance. I think that your legislative changes have been none in the last 15 years, which has hampered your ability to do a whole lot of things. And I don't understand how this board functions or this commission functions with $0. And we have some points of discussion in the future to correct all of those. For those of you that will still be here in August, I would just suggest that you open your minds and be willing to spend some time with us here, because we would like to move you into the 21st century. Those are my comments, and I still don't see any questions. Okay, we're good.
Looking for a lot of guidance, Mr. Brad. We know this transition it's forced, but I think it's a good thing overall. And hopefully the council.
Unknown caller.
Excuse me. Dialysis supplies. Hello. Yes. Okay. Give me about 10 minutes. I've got to call my neighbor to come over. Thank you. Excuse me. Anyway, we're going to move forward, and hopefully it's going to be easy. And we do need everybody to be open-minded and keep in mind ideas that'll help for the betterment of this council, that will be for the betterment of the citizens of the state of Louisiana overall. We don't need any negativity. We need to all be positive and try to move this council, like Mr. Brad said, to the 21st century. I think it will be a very good thing, and I hope the rest of you do the same. And the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Get my guy.